Good evening and welcome to Tinkering with incl. Last episode I started restoring the VT110 videotape recorder by Akai. I had pretty good results with the power supply and the TV module, but the recorder itself was a whole different beast. And it still is, mostly in parts. But the kit came with a camera. That's where the mobility aspect really plays a big part. Now, let's start to dig into that. And here we go. Another bag, in medium condition. Oh, a pistol grip. Yuck, that lens has seen better days. Let's start with the grip. Seems easy enough. There's a few screws missing. I can't shake the feeling that I'm not the first one to take this apart. Curious. It actually contains a proper microswitch, and the mechanism allows the trigger to be locked too. Interesting. Up next, the camera body. I can see several screws. And after a bit of careful prying, the clamshells come apart. Oh, the service manual mentioned an optical viewfinder. This is a tiny CRT. And the foam padding for the microphone is in sad shape indeed. Oof, there is a bunch of wires connected to that PCB. Time to unplug stuff. Again, removing the CRT as early as possible. And here we go. The anode cup was fighting me a bit. It is oriented so that I cannot squeeze it properly. Now, what we have in here is called a Vidicon Tube. It is contained in the shielding sleeve and there's plenty of glue around it. The naked tube looks similar to a vacuum tube, but it has deflection coils around it, much like a CRT. Even more wires. And here we go. The camera tube wants to come out, but it is snagging somewhere, so I have to get the frame apart. Foiled again. There is a lone wire going from the tube to that shielded section. Finally, here we are. These tubes are essentially reverse CRTs. The lens projects the picture onto that shiny surface, which is a special coating that reacts to light and will allow more or less of the electron beam to be detected depending on how much light there is. The tube is driven much like a CRT, so that the current spot brightness can be translated to a matching video signal. I could not get the cable out of the frame, and seeing that it is quite hefty, I left it in situ for the cleaning. Cleanup time! Giving all the parts a good wash. The plastic is in relatively good shape and turned out to be almost like new under all that grime. Assembly time for the pistol grip. Nothing much happening. The parts come together with relative ease. Pew pew! Now let's have a good look at the lens. Sheesh! The aluminium case has seen much better days. The glass seems to be in good nick though, so there's hope. About half of the circumference is badly tarnished and the usual IPA showed no effect. And since I don't want to use abrasives when there's an optical lens nearby, let's get going! Starting with the rear cap, I can see some screws there. Okay, that was just a cover. Plenty more screws under here though. And off comes the rear element. To give a clear view of the aperture, the adjustment ring is held in place with a little peg. Oh, almost lost it. A little ball and spring for the detents in the aperture ring. The internal workings are held in place with a spring clip. Okay, I was hoping to avoid it, but here come the aperture elements. No screws underneath. It tricked me. There are, however, tiny grub screws in the focus ring. That cover was a bit stuck. Now... Oh, there's some more grub screws in here. Now the aperture comes out. And after this part of the case, there's a shim, but no more screws. Since I'm out of visible screws, let's see what's behind door number 2. That grip tape on the zoom ring. Aha! I knew it! The lens mechanism is trapping this element. No, these screws won't budge. I had to resort to some very carefully applied force. Heat wasn't an option near the optical lenses, and one of the screws is now missing a bit of its head. But in the end, I prevailed. Now the sleeve part is loose, but the two lenses that it held are now free to bang around on the inside. I was hoping to get to the final bit by now, but no, the focus part is still holding it in place. To avoid damaging the lenses, I stuffed a bit of tissue paper into the mechanism. The focus control barrel has a nose on it that only allows it to turn about a quarter turn. This needs to come out to unscrew it. And more grub screws. With feeling. Well, in the sense of getting hit with a hammer at least. That ring is actually glued in place. Well, I tried everything. Time for some heat. Aha, it moves. And after wiggling it a bit, it finally comes loose. Ta-da! Cleanup time! I used several variants of Scotch-Brite to get things going. There are a few scratches on the surface now, but they look worse on camera than in real life. Also, the lettering is engraved, so that turned out to be really nice and crisp. Assembly time! Let's start with the most annoying part, the aperture. It works, but as you can see, at least one piece is a bit out of whack. It doesn't close all the way. Eventually, I got it. Now, cleaning all the lenses. It seems that the haze that I saw was only on the surface. They look like new now. Adding some grease to the sliding parts. I took pictures and notes on the alignment of the tubes, but it seems that there is only one way they fit together anyhow. The bolt pattern is asymmetric and there are notches on the side. I wanted to add the one center ring next, but it makes the screws for the inner zoom lens element inaccessible, so I had to do that first. Again, adding some grease. And getting that darn screw going in the free-floating lens frame through two sliding tubes with two bearing elements on it. Fun! But finally, it fits, and the center ring is next. The second element for the zoom is also fun. I'm sure they had fixtures for it in the factory. Rinse and repeat. There we go. Both zoom elements are now working again. Next we have the distance blocks for the zoom ring. Two of the three had shims. I used my disassembly video to put them back into the same position. And now the focus part. And again, the focus mechanism has to go first. The zoom ring covers up some screws. Yep, that's how it works. I am using the visible glue residue to align the captive part of the focus range again, adding some grease. And darn it, how did it go on so easy before? Yes, it fits! No, that cover needs to go on before the focus lens. Well, many choice words later, I finally can put the grub screws back in and lock that focus element in place. Here comes the aperture. And the ball and spring. Followed by the rear element. And the final cover pieces. I'm leaving the grip tape off for now, just in case, should I have to go in again. Now back to the camera. I'm starting with the Vidicon Tube. Then the shielded PCB. Turns out that this one is the Vidicon input amplifier. The frame and wire tangle cleaned up okay. Checking to see if all the trimmers are accessible from the outside. Connecting all the wires to the amplifier board was a tight fit. And after more and even more wire wrangling, the main control PCB can go back onto the frame again, which is a bit difficult when all the wires are a form-fitting clump around the Vidicon tube on the inside. Clipping the high voltage PCB on next. It provides both the 4 kV for the Viewfinder CRT and the 100 odd volts for the Vidicon Tube. Now, ready for a test? While the camera does create the brightness part of the video signal, it does not create its own sync signals. Those are created by the recorder and fed through the cable. According to the service manual, it should be vertical sync and both horizontal and vertical blanking signals. I located the signal generator PCB, and even though it does not match the service manual in the slightest, the general idea is recognizable. The coil adjusts the oscillator, so we end up with as close to 50 Hz as possible. Power on. Nothing. It took ages to find out that I had two of the wires backwards. That shorted out the power supply. and my bench supply went into current limiting mode. Without a proper adjustment guide for this particular model, I'm left to the best guess mode. And I must say, well, at least I see a picture. Oh, the camera output is proper PAL, so here's a direct recording. The quality is not yet to be judged. I'm still looking up and down the interwebs for more than just the schematics. At least I have an idea now which trimmer is causing which effect. But what is the proper setting? Especially with the bias settings. Oh well. And this is a good point to end this episode. The camera is mostly working, the VTR is still in pieces, but I'm getting there. I needed some parts to adjust the video head assembly, and that got me a bit off track. I'm not sure if I can provide the conclusion to this project in the usual 2 weeks, but I shall try. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you next time! A little ball and spring for the dentures in... Dentures? No, not dentures. Teeth have nothing to do with it. Nope.